Chapter 1. The Unearthed Secret. The town of Eldergrove had long been a quiet, unassuming place. Nestled between rolling hills and dense woods, it was a sanctuary for those seeking solace from the bustle of city life. Its history was a tapestry of folklore and whispers of an ancient past that few dared to explore. Among the town's most enigmatic landmarks stood the Ashcroft Manor, an old estate that loomed at the edge of the forest, its silhouette darkened by years of neglect. For decades, the manor had been an object of curiosity and fear, its windows staring like empty eyes into the soul of the town. Many considered it cursed, haunted by the spirits of those who once walked its halls. Stories of its former owner, a reclusive scholar with a penchant for the occult, added layers of mystery to its crumbling facade. One brisk autumn morning, a team of renovators arrived at the manor, tasked with restoring the grand structure to its former glory. As the workers peeled back layers of decay, they uncovered a hidden door concealed behind a tapestry in the library. The door creaked open, revealing a narrow staircase spiraling into the depths of the earth. Descending into the darkness, the workers stumbled upon a secret chamber, untouched by time. Dust motes danced in the light of their lanterns, illuminating shelves lined with ancient tomes and peculiar artifacts. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, upon which rested an ornate book bound in cracked leather, the grimoire. The air in the chamber was thick with a foreboding presence, as if the shadows themselves held their breath in anticipation. Among the artifacts lay bizarre trinkets, a tarnished silver dagger, candles melted into grotesque shapes, and vials of dried herbs. Strange symbols adorned the walls, etched in a language that seemed to vibrate with hidden power. As the workers explored, they felt an inexplicable chill, a sense that they were not alone. An unseen force seemed to pulse from the grimoire, drawing them closer. The head renovator, a curious and skeptical man, could not resist its allure. With trembling hands, he reached for the book, its cover cold and slick beneath his fingers. The air seemed to thrum with an unspoken energy as he lifted the grimoire from its pedestal. An oppressive silence enveloped the room, and the shadows stretched, eager to reclaim their prize. Unbeknownst to him, the simple act of disturbing the grimoire had set into motion a chain of events that would unravel the fabric of Eldergrove and awaken forces long thought dormant. The workers left the chamber, eager to escape its clutches, but the echoes of their discovery lingered. Above ground, the wind howled through the trees, a mournful dirge foretelling the darkness that would soon envelop the town. The unearthed secret had been revealed, and with it came a portent of the horrors yet to come. Chapter 2. Whispers from the Past. In the heart of Eldergrove, the chill of late autumn had begun to seep into the bones of the town. The discovery at Ashcroft Manor was the talk of the community, though few knew the true nature of what lay beneath its surface. The historian, Dr. Samuel Carter, was among the first to hear of the hidden chamber. Renowned for his dedication to uncovering the secrets of the past, he felt an irresistible pull toward the manor's newfound mystery. Dr. Carter had spent his career piecing together the fragmented history of Eldergrove, his studies often leading him to the edge of the known and into the realm of legend. The Ashcroft Manor had always been a source of intrigue, its history shrouded in rumor and shadow. When news of the chamber reached him, he saw it as an opportunity to delve deeper into the enigma that had eluded him for years. The manor stood as it always had, a sentinel of forgotten times, its walls imbued with the weight of history. As Dr. Carter approached, a cold wind whispered through the barren trees, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and decay. The manor seemed to watch him, its empty windows reflecting the overcast sky. Inside, the air was thick with dust and memories. The library, once a place of knowledge and refuge, now bore the marks of neglect. The tapestry that concealed the door to the hidden chamber hung like a shroud, its fabric heavy with age. Dr. Carter's eyes lingered on it, his heart quickening with anticipation. With a deep breath, he descended into the chamber. The flickering light of his lantern cast long shadows that danced upon the walls, the symbols carved into their surface seeming to shift and change under his gaze. The air was still, yet alive with a tension that set his nerves on edge. He approached the grimoire, its presence commanding and undeniable. The book seemed to pulse with a life of its own, an ancient heartbeat that resonated in the silence. As he opened it, the pages crackled with the passage of time, their surface inscribed with symbols and illustrations that defied understanding. Dr. Carter's fingers traced the lines of text, his mind racing to decipher their meaning. The grimoire spoke of rituals and incantations, of power drawn from the unseen and the eternal. It detailed the history of the cult that once thrived in Eldergrove, their practices steeped in the forbidden and the profane. As he studied the pages, an unease settled over him, a sense that he was not alone in the chamber. The shadows seemed to gather around him, drawn by the unspoken knowledge contained within the grimoire. His breath caught in his throat as he realized the significance of what he held, the key to a past that had been deliberately buried, its secrets locked away to prevent their escape. The historian felt a growing compulsion to explore further, to uncover the depths of the grimoire's knowledge. Yet, beneath his curiosity lay a foreboding sense of dread, an instinctual warning of the darkness that lurked within its pages. As he ascended from the chamber, the shadows clung to him, whispering of the past and the inevitable path he had set upon. The weight of his discovery hung heavy on his shoulders, a burden of knowledge that would not be easily cast aside. In the quiet of the manor, the whispers grew louder, echoing through the halls as the town of Eldergrove awaited the unfolding of its forgotten history. Chapter 3: The First Ritual. The days grew shorter, and the town of Eldergrove lay beneath a canopy of heavy clouds, casting an ominous pallor over its narrow streets. Dr. Samuel Carter, consumed by the secrets he had uncovered in the hidden chamber, found himself drawn ever deeper into the labyrinthine pages of the grimoire. Each night, by the dim glow of candlelight, he pored over its texts, the ancient ink revealing tantalizing glimpses of power and knowledge. The allure of the grimoire was irresistible. Its pages seemed to come alive beneath his touch, each word imbued with a sense of urgency that transcended time. The rituals described within spoke of communion with forces beyond mortal comprehension, of the bending of reality to one's will. To Dr. Carter, these were not mere words but a call to action, a promise of understanding and control. As the pull of the grimoire grew stronger, his dreams became plagued by visions of a world unseen, realm where shadows danced and whispered, where the boundaries of time and space blurred into a kaleidoscope of madness. The visions called to him, urging him to perform the rituals, to unlock the door that separated the known from the unknown. One evening, as a storm raged outside, the historian succumbed to the grimoire's seductive promises. In the seclusion of his study, he prepared to enact a simple ritual, a rite of insight that promised clarity and understanding. The instructions were meticulous, each step a precise dance between reality and the arcane. He gathered the required items: a candle of black wax, a mirror veiled in crimson cloth, and a small vial of liquid that shimmered with an otherworldly light. As he arranged them on the floor, the room seemed to contract around him, the walls closing in as if to witness the rituals unfolding. The air grew thick with anticipation, the flickering candle casting a halo of light that seemed to ward off the encroaching darkness. Dr. Carter, seated cross-legged before the mirror, recited the incantation with a steady voice, the foreign syllables tumbling from his lips in a cadence that resonated with the pulse of the universe. As the final word left his lips, the room plunged into silence, the storm outside momentarily forgotten. In the mirror's reflection, the candle's flame flickered and twisted, its light warping into shapes that defied the boundaries of its glass prison. The air hummed with energy, and for a brief moment, the historian glimpsed a truth beyond human understanding. The vision that unfolded was both terrifying and beautiful, a kaleidoscope of colors and shadows that danced in harmony, a cosmic tapestry woven from the threads of existence. Dr. Carter felt himself teetering on the edge of comprehension, his mind struggling to grasp the enormity of what lay before him. And then, as quickly as it had begun, the vision faded, leaving behind only the steady glow of the candle and the oppressive silence of the room. The historian sat in the aftermath of the ritual, his heart pounding in his chest, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The grimoire had fulfilled its promise, offering him a glimpse of the hidden tapestry that underpinned reality. Yet, with the knowledge came a profound sense of unease, a realization that the boundaries he had crossed could not be uncrossed. The shadows in his dreams no longer felt like mere figments of his imagination, but harbingers of a truth he had yet to fully comprehend. The grimoire had opened a door within him, and as he extinguished the candle, he knew that he could never turn back. The first ritual was complete, and the descent into darkness had only just begun. Chapter 4: Echoes in the Darkness. The weeks that followed Dr. Samuel Carter's first ritual passed in a haze of blurred days and restless nights. The historian found himself haunted by the visions that had seeped into his consciousness, their vivid colors and twisting shapes leaving an indelible mark on his mind. Eldergrove, with its quaint charm and serene landscapes, became a backdrop to a world unseen, a world that lingered just beyond the veil of perception. Dr. Carter's dreams were no longer his own. Each night, he was drawn into a realm where shadows writhed and whispered, their voices a cacophony of secrets and revelations. He would awaken drenched in sweat, his heart racing with the echoes of words he could not understand but felt compelled to uncover. The grimoire, ever present in his study, seemed to call to him, its pages beckoning with promises of deeper truths. By day, the historian attempted to maintain the semblance of normalcy, his work at the university offering a brief respite from the encroaching darkness. Yet, even amidst the stacks of books and the familiar smell of aged paper, he felt the shadows lurking, a constant reminder of the path he had chosen. Colleagues noted his distracted demeanor and the dark circles under his eyes, but he waved away their concerns with a weary smile. As the days grew shorter and the chill of winter settled over Eldergrove, the manifestations of the grimoire's influence became more tangible. Strange occurrences haunted the historian, inexplicable events that defied logic and reason. Objects in his home would shift and disappear, only to reappear in peculiar arrangements, as if guided by unseen hands. Mirrors reflected not only his image but also fleeting glimpses of another world, a landscape of twisted trees and endless night. The air around him seemed charged with an unseen energy, a presence that followed him through the corridors of the manor and the quiet streets of the town. Dr. Carter often found himself pausing, his senses attuned to a barely perceptible vibration, as if the very fabric of reality trembled beneath his feet. The shadows, once silent observers, now pulsed with life, their forms shifting and twisting in response to his movements. In the solitude of his study, the historian sought solace in the grimoire, its pages offering both comfort and torment. He delved deeper into its mysteries, seeking answers to the questions that plagued his waking hours. The rituals described within became an obsession, each one a puzzle that promised to unlock another layer of understanding. As he immersed himself in the grimoire's teachings, Dr. Carter became acutely aware of the cost of his pursuit. The shadows in his dreams began to bleed into his waking life, their whispers growing louder and more insistent. They spoke of forbidden knowledge and ancient power, of a path that led to enlightenment and oblivion. Despite the mounting dread, the historian could not bring himself to abandon his quest. The grimoire had become a part of him, its secrets entwined with his very being. The shadows that haunted him were no longer mere specters, but companions on a journey that promised to unravel the mysteries of existence. Yet, with each revelation came a deeper understanding of the peril that lay ahead. The echoes in the darkness were a warning, a reminder that the path he had chosen was fraught with danger and temptation. Dr. Carter stood on the precipice of a vast and terrifying unknown, the shadows at his back urging him forward even as the light of reason faltered. As winter tightened its grip on Eldergrove, the historian faced a choice that would define his fate. The grimoire had opened his eyes to a world of unimaginable possibility, but its secrets came at a price that demanded sacrifice and courage in the face of the darkness that loomed ever larger in his mind. Chapter 5: The Blood Moon. The sky above Eldergrove was a canopy of swirling clouds, pregnant with the promise of snow. Winter had settled in, wrapping the town in a blanket of cold silence. The streets lay empty, save for the occasional gust of wind that carried whispers of the past. Dr. Samuel Carter, lost in the labyrinth of his thoughts, sensed the shifting of the seasons as a prelude to something momentous. The grimoire's influence had deepened its roots within him, entwining his thoughts with its ancient secrets. As the historian immersed himself in its pages, a singular entry captured his attention: the ritual of the blood moon. The grimoire spoke of an astronomical event, a convergence of celestial forces that opened a portal between worlds, a gateway to ultimate understanding. The blood moon was fast approaching, its arrival heralded by a series of omens that matched the descriptions within the grimoire. Animals behaved erratically, their instincts attuned to the changes in the natural order. The nights grew longer, the air thick with anticipation, as if the universe itself held its breath in expectation of the coming event. Dr. Carter felt the pull of the ritual with an intensity that bordered on compulsion. It promised clarity and enlightenment, a chance to transcend the boundaries of the known and glimpse the true nature of existence. The historian, once guided by reason and logic, now found himself entranced by the lure of the arcane, a dance with shadows that promised to reveal the light. In the days leading up to the blood moon, Dr. Carter prepared meticulously, gathering the components required for the ritual. The grimoire provided explicit instructions: a circle of salt to ward against malevolent forces, candles of crimson and gold to harness the moon's power, and an offering of blood to seal the covenant between the seeker and the unseen. The historian worked tirelessly, his every thought consumed by the approaching ritual. The mundane world faded into obscurity, overshadowed by the promise of revelation that lay within his grasp. The echoes in the darkness grew louder, their whispers a constant presence that urged him forward, promising rewards beyond imagining. On the night of the blood moon, the sky cleared, revealing the celestial orb in all its crimson glory. The town lay shrouded in an eerie glow, the moon's light casting elongated shadows that danced upon the snow-covered ground. In the solitude of his study, Dr. Carter commenced the ritual, his movements deliberate and measured. The candles flickered to life, their flames casting a warm light that dispelled the chill of the room. The circle of salt glimmered in the moonlight, a barrier between the historian and the abyss that lay beyond. With a steady hand, he made the offering, the blood pooling on the altar as the final component of the ritual fell into place. As he spoke the incantation, the air around him seemed to hum with energy, the very fabric of reality vibrating in response. The shadows in the room twisted and contorted, their forms coalescing into shapes that defied comprehension. The blood moon hung low in the sky, a silent witness to the unfolding drama, its light casting an otherworldly glow upon the scene. In that moment, the historian glimpsed the truth that lay beyond the veil, a vision of a universe woven from chaos and order, a tapestry of infinite possibilities. The knowledge flooded his mind, a torrent of understanding that threatened to overwhelm his senses. The echoes in the darkness became a symphony, their voices harmonizing in a song of creation and destruction. And then, as swiftly as it had begun, the vision faded, leaving Dr. Carter alone in the dim light of his study. The ritual had ended, its power spent, yet the knowledge it had imparted lingered like an indelible mark upon his soul. The blood moon had fulfilled its promise, offering a glimpse of eternity that would haunt the historian's dreams for the rest of his days. As the first light of dawn broke upon the horizon, Dr. Carter realized that the path he had chosen was fraught with peril and wonder, a journey that demanded both sacrifice and resolve. The grimoire had opened a door to a realm of boundless possibility, yet its secrets were a double-edged sword, their power both illuminating and blinding. The echoes in the darkness remained, a constant reminder of the price of knowledge and the delicate balance between enlightenment and madness. The blood moon had passed, but the shadows it cast lingered, a testament to the historian's brush with the infinite, a dance with the unknown that had only just begun. Chapter 6: The Price of Power. The blood moon's glow had faded, but its effects lingered in the heart of Eldergrove and in the mind of Dr. Samuel Carter. The historian, now a vessel of arcane knowledge, found himself burdened by the weight of what he had seen. The truths revealed during the ritual haunted his waking moments, whispering to him in the quiet corners of his mind. The grimoire, once a source of fascination and wonder, had become a symbol of the perilous path he had chosen. Its pages held a power that promised enlightenment, yet demanded a price that was not easily quantified. Dr. Carter understood that the rituals, seductive in their allure, were traps designed to ensnare the unwary in their web of secrets. With each passing day, the shadows around him grew more insistent, their presence an inescapable reminder of the forces he had awakened. The echoes that had once been a distant murmur now resonated with a clarity that bordered on madness, their voices a constant companion that refused to be silenced. Dr. Carter's obsession with the grimoire had come at a cost. His health deteriorated, the strain of sleepless nights and ceaseless study leaving him gaunt and hollow-eyed. The world around him seemed to blur, reality bending and twisting under the influence of the knowledge he had acquired. Time itself seemed to stretch and contract, the boundaries of past and present melting into one. In the solitude of his study, the historian delved deeper into the grimoire, seeking answers to the questions that plagued his thoughts. The rituals described within offered a tantalizing promise of control over the chaos that threatened to engulf him. Yet, with each new rite he performed, the cost grew steeper, demanding more than he was willing to give. The shadows, ever present, whispered of others who had walked the same path, individuals who had succumbed to the allure of the grimoire's power and paid the ultimate price. Their stories unfolded in his mind, a litany of ambition and hubris that ended in madness and despair. He saw their faces, twisted by the burden of forbidden knowledge, and felt the chill of their fate looming over him. Dr. Carter's connection to the town of Eldergrove began to fray, the once familiar streets now alien and distant. The townsfolk, unaware of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface, continued their lives, oblivious to the struggle that played out in the historian's soul. The world seemed to move on, indifferent to the forces that had been unleashed. Despite the mounting evidence of the danger that lay ahead, Dr. Carter found himself unable to relinquish the grimoire. Its power was intoxicating, a siren's song that promised to unlock the mysteries of existence. The historian, caught in its thrall, grappled with the realization that his quest for knowledge might lead to his undoing. As winter deepened, the chill of the season mirrored the growing isolation that enveloped him. The grimoire's pages, once a source of light and hope, now felt heavy with the weight of consequence. Dr. Carter stood at a crossroads, the shadows at his back urging him forward even as his mind teetered on the brink of collapse. The price of power was clear, yet the path he had chosen offered no easy escape. The grimoire had become a part of him, its secrets entwined with his very being. The shadows that haunted him were both a warning and a guide, their whispers a reminder of the balance that must be struck between knowledge and sanity. In the quiet of his study, the historian faced the reality of his situation, the echoes in the darkness a constant refrain that promised both enlightenment and oblivion. The journey he had embarked upon was one of discovery and transformation, a dance with shadows that demanded both courage and sacrifice. The price of power was steep, yet the grimoire's allure was a fire that refused to be extinguished, casting its light upon a path that stretched into the unknown. Chapter 7. The Unseen Eyes. The winter deepened, draping Eldergrove in a veil of frost and silence. Dr. Samuel Carter, ensnared by the grimoire's mysteries, found his every moment consumed by the knowledge he had gained. Yet, as his understanding of the arcane grew, so too did his awareness of an invisible presence that watched him from the shadows. The sensation of being observed was at first a subtle unease, a prickle on the skin that could be dismissed as paranoia. But with time, the feeling intensified, becoming a constant weight upon his mind. The historian's every action seemed to be scrutinized by unseen eyes, an audience to his descent into the depths of forbidden knowledge. The shadows that had once been his companions now felt oppressive, their whispers carrying not only secrets but also warnings of an impending reckoning. The grimoire, its pages alive with possibility, seemed to pulse with an awareness of its own, as if it, too, was aware of the eyes that followed Dr. Carter's every move. As the days passed, the historian's paranoia grew. He felt their presence as he walked the streets of Eldergrove, the town's familiar landmarks transformed into sinister sentinels that watched and judged. The quiet library, once a haven of solace, now seemed to hum with a silent tension, the weight of countless unread volumes pressing down upon him. At night, his dreams were filled with visions of faceless figures, their outlines blurred and indistinct, watching from the periphery of his consciousness. They stood in silent vigil, their motives inscrutable, as if waiting for him to falter. Dr. Carter would awaken with their gazes burned into his mind, the remnants of their presence lingering long after the dream had faded. His research into the grimoire led him to uncover the existence of a secret society, a group dedicated to guarding against the misuse of forbidden knowledge. The accounts he found were fragmented and elusive, hinting at a shadowy organization that operated in the spaces between light and dark, its members sworn to protect the world from the very powers Dr. Carter sought to understand. The historian felt a chill at the realization that he had drawn their attention. His pursuit of the grimoire's secrets had marked him as a potential threat, a pawn in a game played on a board far larger than he could comprehend. The knowledge he had so eagerly sought now seemed a double-edged sword, its power both a gift and a curse. Despite the mounting tension, Dr. Carter's resolve remained unshaken. The grimoire's call was a siren song that he could not resist, a promise of enlightenment that eclipsed his fear of the unknown. He continued to explore its pages, driven by a thirst for understanding that bordered on obsession. In the stillness of his study, the historian fortified himself against the unseen eyes that watched from the shadows. He created wards and symbols of protection, drawing upon the grimoire's teachings to shield himself from their gaze. Yet, even as he worked, he felt their presence closing in, a tightening noose that threatened to suffocate him. The grimoire had become his confidant, its pages offering guidance even as they ensnared him further in their web. The shadows that lurked in its margins promised both power and peril, their whispers a reminder of the stakes at play. Dr. Carter understood that his journey had irrevocably altered the course of his life, setting him on a path that demanded both caution and courage. As winter's grip tightened on Eldergrove, the historian braced himself for the challenges that lay ahead. The unseen eyes that watched from the darkness were both adversaries and allies, their motives hidden beneath layers of secrecy and deception. Dr. Carter stood at the crossroads of destiny, the grimoire's power a beacon that lit his way even as it cast long shadows over the road that stretched before him. Chapter 8: The Gathering Storm. The winter in Eldergrove reached its peak, the town blanketed in snow and silence. Dr. Samuel Carter, deeply entangled in the mysteries of the grimoire, sensed a shift in the air, a foreboding that rippled through the town like an unseen storm. The presence of the unseen eyes had become a constant, a shadow that loomed over his every action. The historian felt the weight of his choices pressing down on him, the lines between reality and illusion blurring beneath the pressure of his pursuit. The grimoire's secrets had opened a door within him, and with each new revelation, the boundary between the known and the unknown dissolved further, leaving him adrift in a sea of possibilities. The shadows that once whispered their secrets now carried a new urgency, their voices a cacophony that threatened to drown out his reason. Dr. Carter understood that he was not alone in his quest for understanding. Others sought the grimoire's power, their intentions as inscrutable as the shadows themselves. The realization that he was not the only one seeking the grimoire's secrets filled him with a sense of urgency. The accounts of the secret society, those who watched from the periphery, took on new significance. Their presence was not just a warning but a testament to the dangers that lay in wait for those who delved too deeply into forbidden knowledge. With this understanding came a renewed sense of purpose. Dr. Carter resolved to confront the unseen eyes, to seek out the truth of the society that lurked in the shadows. The grimoire's teachings provided a roadmap, its pages filled with references to hidden meetings and clandestine rituals that promised to reveal the society's true nature. The historian's preparations were meticulous, each step taken with the care of one who walked the line between light and dark. He gathered the necessary components for a new ritual, one designed to unveil the truth that lay hidden in the depths of secrecy. The ritual called for precision and focus, its success dependent on the historian's ability to navigate the treacherous waters of the arcane. On the night of the gathering storm, Dr. Carter set to work. The air was electric with anticipation, the town shrouded in darkness as clouds gathered overhead. The room was dimly lit by candles, their flames flickering in the cold draft that whispered through the cracks in the windows. The historian felt the weight of unseen eyes upon him, their presence a reminder of the stakes at play. The ritual began, each movement precise and deliberate. The grimoire lay open before him, its pages alive with energy as he recited the incantation. The room seemed to pulse with power, the very air vibrating with the resonance of ancient words. The shadows danced upon the walls, their forms twisting and contorting in response to the summoning. As the ritual reached its climax, the storm outside unleashed its fury. Lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the room in stark relief. Thunder rumbled, a low growl that shook the very foundations of the manor. In that moment, the veil between worlds thinned, and the truth of the society was laid bare. Dr. Carter's vision was filled with images of cloaked figures gathered in a circle, their faces obscured by shadows. They stood in silent communion, their presence a testament to the power they wielded. The historian understood that he was glimpsing a meeting of the secret society, their motives and machinations hidden beneath layers of secrecy. The revelation was both illuminating and terrifying, a reminder of the vastness of the forces at play and the delicate balance that must be maintained. Dr. Carter felt the eyes upon him, their scrutiny a challenge and a warning, their presence a reminder that his actions had consequences far beyond his understanding. As the storm raged on, the vision faded, leaving the historian alone in the dim light of his study. The ritual had succeeded, unveiling the truth that lay hidden in the shadows. Yet with this knowledge came a deeper understanding of the path he had chosen, a journey fraught with danger and discovery, where the line between ally and adversary was as thin as the veil between worlds. Dr. Carter stood at the crossroads of fate, the grimoire's power a beacon that guided him even as it cast long shadows over the road ahead. The gathering storm had passed, but its echoes remained, a testament to the struggle that lay before him, a battle for knowledge and survival in a world where the unseen eyes watched and waited for the unfolding of destiny. Chapter 9. The Abyss Beckons. In the aftermath of the storm, Eldergrove emerged into a world washed clean by snow and silence. Dr. Samuel Carter, now armed with the knowledge of the secret society, felt the grimoire's weight heavier than ever in his hands. The unseen eyes that had watched him from the shadows were no longer a distant threat. They were a constant presence, their motives as inscrutable as the darkness itself. The historian's journey had brought him to the precipice of revelation, a threshold where the known world met the unknown. The grimoire had promised enlightenment, but its secrets were a double-edged sword, demanding a price that he was still struggling to understand. The path he had chosen led inexorably toward an abyss that beckoned with the allure of ultimate truth. Dr. Carter's days became a blur of research and introspection, the lines between reality and illusion blurring beneath the weight of his discoveries. The grimoire's teachings had become a lifeline, guiding him through a maze of possibilities that defied conventional understanding. Yet with each step deeper into its mysteries, the historian felt the grip of the abyss tightening around him. The secret society, its members hidden in the shadows, occupied his every thought. The ritual had revealed their existence, but their intentions remained a mystery. Dr. Carter understood that they were both protectors and gatekeepers, guardians of a knowledge that could reshape the fabric of reality. The historian was both drawn to and repelled by their power, caught between the desire for understanding and the fear of what lay beyond. As the winter deepened, Eldergrove became a mirror of Dr. Carter's internal struggle, a landscape of stark contrasts, where light and shadow danced in a delicate balance. The historian's interactions with the world around him grew increasingly strained, the townsfolk unaware of the cosmic battle that played out within his mind. The grimoire, ever a source of temptation and terror, guided him toward a final ritual, a culmination of the journey that had begun with a simple curiosity and led to the brink of madness. The ritual promised to unlock the ultimate secret, a glimpse into the abyss that lay beyond the veil of perception. With each passing day, Dr. Carter prepared himself for the ritual, gathering the necessary components and fortifying his resolve. The grimoire's pages, alive with energy, seemed to pulse with anticipation, as if eager to reveal the final chapter of its tale. The shadows whispered their warnings, their voices a reminder of the cost of seeking forbidden knowledge. On the night of the ritual, the historian set to work, the air thick with the tension of an impending storm. The room was illuminated by candlelight, their flames casting flickering shadows that danced upon the walls. The grimoire lay open before him, its pages a roadmap to the abyss that beckoned with a siren's call. The ritual began, each movement precise and deliberate. The incantation, a melody of ancient words, filled the air, resonating with a power that vibrated through the very fabric of reality. The room seemed to shift and warp, the boundaries of time and space bending under the weight of the invocation. As the ritual reached its zenith, Dr. Carter felt the abyss open before him, a yawning chasm of darkness and possibility. The unseen eyes watched from the periphery, their presence both a comfort and a challenge. The historian stood at the edge, the grimoire's power a lifeline that tethered him to the world even as it threatened to pull him under. In that moment, the historian glimpsed the truth that lay beyond the veil, a vision of a universe woven from chaos and order, a tapestry of infinite possibilities. The knowledge flooded his mind, a torrent of understanding that threatened to overwhelm his senses. The echoes in the darkness became a symphony, their voices harmonizing in a song of creation and destruction. And then, as swiftly as it had begun, the vision faded, leaving Dr. Carter alone in the dim light of his study. The ritual had ended, its power spent, yet the knowledge it had imparted lingered like an indelible mark upon his soul. The abyss had revealed its secrets, offering a glimpse of eternity that would haunt the historian's dreams for the rest of his days. As the first light of dawn broke upon the horizon, Dr. Carter realized that the path he had chosen was fraught with peril and wonder, a journey that demanded both sacrifice and resolve. The grimoire had opened a door to a realm of boundless possibility, yet its secrets were a double-edged sword, their power both illuminating and blinding. The echoes in the darkness remained, a constant reminder of the price of knowledge and the delicate balance between enlightenment and madness. The abyss had beckoned, but the shadows it cast lingered, a testament to the historian's brush with the infinite, a dance with the unknown that had only just begun. Chapter 10. The Final Descent. The winter's grip on Eldergrove had finally begun to ease, but the thaw brought no relief to Dr. Samuel Carter. The landscape outside was awakening from its frozen slumber, yet the historian remained trapped in a world of shadows and shifting realities. The abyss had revealed its secrets, but the knowledge it imparted had left him more isolated and haunted than ever. Dr. Carter's study had become a sanctuary of sorts, a place where the outside world faded into obscurity and the grimoire's dark allure was the sole focus of his existence. The revelations of the final ritual had transformed his perception, each day a relentless echo of the abyss's call. The knowledge he had sought now seemed like a cruel jest, a promise of power that had exacted a toll on his sanity and soul. The grimoire, now a constant companion, lay open on the desk, its pages worn from endless study. The historian could no longer discern the line between his own thoughts and the whispers of the book. The echoes of the darkness that had once been a distant hum were now a cacophony, a relentless chorus that threatened to drown out his reason. As spring approached, the snow receded, revealing the bare landscape of Eldergrove. The town, though vibrant with the promise of renewal, seemed distant and alien to Dr. Carter. The familiar streets and faces were but fleeting memories, overshadowed by the abyss that had claimed him. His isolation was both physical and mental, a sanctuary that had become a prison. The historian's interactions with the world outside had dwindled to nothing. The few who had attempted to reach out to him found their efforts met with silence and averted gazes. Dr. Carter had become a recluse, his existence defined by the boundaries of his study and the grimoire's dark embrace. In the quiet of his study, the historian continued his work, but the results were increasingly erratic. The once clear path of understanding had become a labyrinth of confusion and despair. The knowledge he had gained was a burden too great to bear, and the abyss that had once beckoned now loomed as a chasm that threatened to consume him. The nights grew longer as spring approached, the darkness encroaching upon the remnants of daylight. Dr. Carter found himself drawn to the solitude of the night, the quiet hours offering a respite from the relentless demands of the day. The grimoire's power seemed to reach its zenith in the darkness, its whispers a seductive lullaby that promised both solace and madness. One night, As the moon hung low in the sky, Dr. Carter felt a profound shift within himself. The abyss that had once been a distant horizon now seemed to envelop him, its shadows merging with his own. The grimoire's pages glowed with a soft, eerie light, the runes and symbols shifting as if alive. The historian performed a final ritual, a culmination of his journey into the unknown. The incantations flowed from his lips with a fluidity born of desperation and resolve. The room seemed to breathe with the rhythm of his words, the air thick with the weight of unseen forces. The shadows on the walls danced in a frenetic display, their movements a reflection of the turmoil within him. As the ritual reached its climax, the boundaries between reality and illusion dissolved completely. Dr. Carter's vision blurred, the room melting away into a void of swirling darkness. The abyss, once an external presence, became an internal force, consuming his every thought and sensation. The knowledge he had sought was now a relentless tide, overwhelming and inescapable. The historian felt himself falling, not into a physical space, but into a chasm of his own making. The abyss had claimed him, its depths a reflection of the darkness that had taken root in his soul. The echoes in the darkness were no longer mere whispers, but a symphony of chaos that filled his mind. As the final moments of consciousness slipped away, Dr. Carter realized that the journey he had embarked upon had led him to a place of ultimate understanding. The grimoire's promises had been fulfilled, but at a cost that defied all comprehension. The abyss was both a revelation and a sentence, a testament to the price of seeking knowledge beyond the limits of human experience. The study was left in eerie silence, the grimoire closed and resting on the desk, its pages still glowing faintly in the darkness. The shadows that had once been a mere presence now seemed to merge with the very fabric of the room, a testament to the historian's final descent into the abyss. In the quiet aftermath, Eldergrove resumed its life, the town oblivious to the cosmic struggle that had unfolded in the shadows. The historian's tale became a whispered legend, a story of ambition and madness that echoed through the annals of time. Dr. Samuel Carter had ventured into the darkness and had emerged transformed, a cautionary tale of the perils that lie in the pursuit of forbidden knowledge and the eternal dance with the unknown.